What's going on, card family? Yankees Jets fan 71 back with another video. It's a cup of coffee and something different today. Um, Aside from, I was going to put this somewhere else, but there we go. Aside from being a card collector, I'm also a heavy reader, and I thought maybe would like to talk about some of my favorite books in my baseball collection or baseball book collection, I should say. But first, before I do that, I just want to show off a couple of pins I picked up at the Yankee game recently that I went to last Sunday for the Giancarlo Stanton Jedi bobblehead that I'll do a video on coming up. I also have a couple cards coming in this week that I'll also do a video on next week. But two more pins that I add to the pin board. This Yoda, May the Yankees Be With You pin, and this opening day pin that I always get an opening pin every year. Haven't been to an opening day in a few years though. The last one was when Judge resigned and they played the Giants. That was 2023, I think. Yeah, 2023. I believe that was the year. So it's been a couple of years since I've been to an opening day. Now, this is not all the books in my collection. These are just some of my favorite ones. And I just want to go over them really quickly. We're not going to do a big video and go in depth on these books, but these are some of my suggestions if you're looking for books on the Yankees. Starting off with Iron Horse by Ray Robinson. It's Lou Gehrig in his time. I've been looking for a good Gehrig biography. I had the one that I forgot his first name, but his last name's Eng. I believe it's Joseph Eng. I had that one, but somehow I get during the move it's been lost, or maybe I donated it to the Goodwill when I was donating some stuff. Kind of wish I didn't donate my books because my library would be a lot fuller, but I did have to because again, you know how movers are, they don't want to take everything, so I had to pick and choose what I wanted to move with me. So I could always pick that book up again later. But this one is really good. It's pretty straightforward read on his life. It's an older book. I believe this book is from either the 80s or the 70s. Let me take a quick look because now I'm curious as to what year this book came out. 1990. Okay. I don't think Ray Robinson's with us anymore, but this is a really good book. I enjoyed it a lot. It gave you his life. It didn't really go too much into anything else. When I read a biography, sometimes I just want to know about the player's life or the person's life that I read. Because I don't read just baseball books. I just finished Storytellers by Dave Grohl. Obviously, the founding member of one of my favorite bands, the Foo Fighters, which I thought was a good book. He left out a few things that I felt should have been talked about, but he did not touch on it. Like his time with Nirvana was barely touched. He talked about it, but didn't go in depth into it. So, I mean that's I had posted. I'm part of a group on Facebook called Baseball Books, and I just posed a question: what do you guys prefer, autobiographies or biographies? For me, I prefer a biography because it's more the person who's writing the book will more than likely go into depth on the person's life and touch on stuff that the autobiographer might not want to touch on. Sometimes you get good autobiographies also. I don't poo-poo autobiographies and don't read them. Obviously, I read Storytellers. That's pretty much an autobiography. But sometimes the subject won't go into certain things, and I think a biographer will touch on something like that maybe the autobiographer won't. Although sometimes a biographer will also have an agenda, or they'll favor the subject and gush about it a little too much in the book, in my opinion also. So that's the first book in my list, The Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig in His Time by Ray Robinson. The next book I like that in my collection is 5 O'Clock Lightning. This is about the 27 Yankees from Harvey Fromer. This was a really good book. Really enjoyed it. Loved. I have not read a lot of books on the 27 Yankees. And 5 O'Clock Lightning, if you didn't know, around 5 o'clock during the games, the Yankees around that time would pretty much go on a binge of runs and home runs. So they called it 5 o'clock lightning around that time because the games actually started at 3 back in the 20s. So around 5 o'clock would be around like the seventh or eighth inning, and the Yankees, I believe, were a team that had a lot of late rallies. I have to look that stat up to see how many times the Yankees came from behind in 27 to win a ball game. You would think that they would pretty much mash everyone because the Yankees, that's one of the greatest teams in baseball history. But I don't know. I mean, the Yankees sometimes would come and just go crazy around 5 o'clock, so that's why they called it 5 o'clock lightning. Really good book if you're interested in the 27 Yankees. This book is more of an anecdotal book. It's called The Franchise. Mark Feinstein, who's a really good writer here in New York. It's a curated history of the Bronx Bombers, so it takes quotes from different players, different sources, and just puts them in the book, put them all in this book rather. I found it was an enjoyable read. I'm a Yankee historian, or amateur Yankee historian, as I like to call myself, and I like learning things I didn't know about the franchise. There was a couple of things in here that I didn't know. It takes a lot for me to find something that I didn't know because I've pretty much read a lot of books about the Yankees and watched a lot of documentaries. Kind of wish the Yankees would really, or the Yes Network, I should say, would really put out an in-depth Yankee documentary about their history. So yeah, this one is a really good book. I'm trying to think. There's the name of I have it on. See, there's a book on my favorite book about the Yankees history is a book by Marty Appel, which covers the whole history. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. It's not in my physical collection. I have it on my digital. It's a digital download. It's a really good read if you want to know the history from the Highlanders all the way up to when the new stadium was opened. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry, but if the Yankees were to do a documentary series, I believe that's the book the Yankees should base it on. Another book that I really enjoyed was The Birth of the Dynasty, Behind the Pinstripes of the 1986 Yankees by Joel Sherman, another sports writer here in New York who covers the Yankees. This book talks about the Yankees right before the 96 team won their first World Series since 78, and goes in depth on the drafting, the choices of management, in terms of picking players and trading for them and managers and stuff like that. It's a really good read. Another good read that I didn't bring out was The Yankee Way, which is about Brian Cashman, and that's takes you from Cashman's days as a Yankee intern to his GM days. Say what you want about Cashman, I still think he's a really good GM. He does make a couple of moves that I question, but all GMs do that. This is a really good read if you want to learn about the Yankees right before they turned things around and started the dynasty. I really enjoyed that book. Another book I really enjoyed was The Yankee Way by Joe Torre and Tom Verducci. They kind of split talking about the Yankees during Torre's time. Verducci talks about stuff that Torre won't talk about, while Torre will talk about his experiences with the Yankees. There's a really interesting chapter about steroids around the time that Torre was talking. I mean, I'm not talking, managing the Yankees, which I think was really, really interesting. They also touch on the feud, and I'm saying that with air quotes, between Jeter and A-Rod. There's a funny little tidbit where Jeter and A-Rod were given pants and jeans by some company, and Jeter wore his the next day to the stadium, and A-Rod had his sent over because he didn't wear his. Another little tidbit was when I think A-Rod went over to Jeter's house and found that he did not even watch anything about baseball after he left the stadium. Jeter pretty much left baseball behind. Well, A-Rod was 24/7 baseball. It's a really good read. If you're interested in learning about the years that Torre managed the Yankees, it's a good book to pick up. Another book I really enjoyed was a recent book. I read this last year, the '98 Yankees from Jack Curry. Curry was a writer for the Yankees, and he also is an analyst now for the Yes Network. This one is another good book about a particular Yankees team, being the '98 Yankees, one of the greatest teams ever assembled. It's the greatest team I've ever seen. Not that I've seen the 27, the 61, the 30, the 38 Yankees. I did see the 77, 78 Yankees and the 98 Yankees, and from those three teams, to me, the 98 Yankees were better. I'd put them over the 2001 Mariners only because, yes, the Mariners have more wins, but the Yankees have a world championship and the Mariners don't. So that's why I would put the 98 Yankees over the Mariners. I might put the '98 Yankees over the the big red machine, the Cincinnati Red teams. I think they had better pitching and better hitting than those two teams. And maybe I didn't really see the 75 and 70. Well, I did see the 76 Reds. That was the first year I started watching baseball, and they did beat the Yankees in the World Series that year. So, but yeah, if you want a really good book on the '98 Yankees, I recommend this one. Another book that I really enjoyed was '62 by Brian Hoach, about the year Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs. What I also liked was that it gave you a little bit of a biography on Aaron Judge and his life. So it didn't just talk about that year. It talked about him growing up, him being drafted by the Yankees, his time in the minors, and stuff like that. So if it's not an in-depth biography on him, it does talk more about the year he hit 62 home runs. But if you want a book that talks about that and you also want a little bit of his background, I think Brian Hoach did a really good job on this book. And I always enjoy Brian Hoach's books when he comes out with books. He's a really good writer, and I recommend that one. And finally, picked this one up off of eBay not too long ago. It's the Bronx Bombers, Memories and Memorabilia of the Yankees. The only reason why I picked this is because I am a Yankee collector, and this book does give you pictures of, it gives you a history of the Yankees, but it also gives you pictures of their memorabilia. So as a collector, I like to know what I'm looking out for, what I should be looking out for. Of course, some of the stuff I can't afford because it's pricey, but it gives you an idea of what is or what was out there, as well as talking about the history of the team. And it's it's a good book. I enjoyed it. I enjoy looking at the pictures and then running on eBay and seeing if I can find some of this stuff. So, yeah. So a little bit of a different video today, guys. I just wanted to talk about my love for reading. I love to read when I'm not watching a ball game or I'm not, hanging out with my cards and bobbleheads. So I hope you liked the video. Let me know what your favorite baseball books are in the comments down below. Click that like button if you like this video. And if you want to see more of videos like this, please click that subscribe button as well. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.